Welcome to the Solution Station podcast. I am your host, Nuno Jessing. We are going to be talking about the subject of talent acquisition and retention. And with us, we have Mr. Karabo Letolo, who will be sharing from his experience on this subject. And we believe that we will be able to glean some insights and some experiences, learning experiences from his own journey. And from that, you'll be able to navigate your own journey more smoothly. Karabo, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Nunafo, for the invitation and for talking about human capital, a very important field in the world of business.
Awesome stuff. So now, can you just share a bit about yourself, a brief background about yourself for the listeners?
Yeah, lovely stuff. As you've mentioned, my name is Karabo Letolo. I have been the CEO and founder of a digital marketing agency called Vibe Digital ever since 2015. So we've celebrated 10 years in the month of July of being in business, a very long roller coaster. I've also recently founded another tech company. It's called Mahala Airtime as well. It's an advertising, incentive-based advertising platform that rewards users with points that they can redeem for airtime. So over and above those two, I have been in the entrepreneurial space. I do have an association called Association of Entrepreneurs Botswana, where we try to capacitate entrepreneurs, try to help elevate their businesses, offer trainings, and so on and so forth. Those are the spaces I like to delve in. And so, I've been well versed in this entrepreneurial space, so I like to say I have a PhD in entrepreneur without actually getting the formal accreditation.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, it's the hands-on experience that counts, right? Yes, so you consider yourself to have acquired a PhD in entrepreneurship based on the journey that you have been on, a very hands-on journey.
Yeah, definitely, because 10 years as an entrepreneur in Botswana feels like 100 years, just like human years, so yeah, it's a lot. So yes, please, I'm gonna create myself a certificate PhD in entrepreneurship, and I'm just gonna hang it up somewhere.
That's a good idea. Awesome. So now to delve into our subject matter for today. So talent is one of those areas that is a great topic of interest to many, especially business owners. So we want to hear from you. What has been your own experience in dealing with talent? How do you view talent? What has been your experience in dealing with talent?
Yeah. I've had a pretty insightful and enlightening journey with talent. That basically means I've been an employer for a better part of my 10 years of being an entrepreneur, a better part of the whole existence of Vibe Digital. And I know a lot of the situation for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, is the fact that they hire what they're able to hire. But Mihala, in general, best business practice is that you're supposed to hire the best talent. But then now you can take into consideration, or you can debate on what does best talent mean. Does best talent mean what your company is able to afford and able to accommodate at that particular juncture? And that means that if that's the case, that means that the best talent at that time, 7 years ago, might not be the best talent, at a later stage in your company life. And that is a reality we need to accept. People do outgrow businesses outgrow people. Now, in the sense that businesses outgrow people, it also has to deal with how exactly is that employee motivating themselves to stay relevant to the company, to upskill themselves. But then it's not just also falling on them, but it also falls on the business. How do you bring your human capital together as you evolve as a company? Because the needs of the company tomorrow are not going to be the same needs of the company today. So how do you get the best out of your human capital resources that you have there? Is it possible to get more out of that human capital, or is it not? So those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Those are the questions that you need to find answers to. And so it's been a very, very tricky roller coaster over the past 10 or so years for myself. And one thing I will reveal should I say weakness of mine, although some may not consider it a weakness, is that if I hire someone, I see the potential in them. But sometimes we need to be very honest with ourselves that potential sometimes does not materialize. No matter how much you huff and puff, that potential does not materialize. And so it is important to huff and puff. It is important to make sure you've done everything that you can to bring that potential out of someone. And then when you realize that, it's just not materializing, that's when you need to make the difficult decision of, do you still continue trying to bring it out of this person, or do you let that person go? And then also the other part of the equation is that person also needs to see that potential in themselves as well. In fact, the biggest part of the equation is that person. That is that human capital person, is, like their mindset, their mentality, it needs to be the right one for your company to be able to flourish. So you really do need to try to hire the best human capital that you can for your business at that particular juncture, because that is what then translates to how if your business is able to achieve its objectives, if your business is able to scale. And one thing as entrepreneurs, we need to understand that we need to grow. For some reason, a lot of Botswana business people, business owners, they get stuck in this level of survival, as long as you're surviving, as long as you're paying the bills. But that is not why we get into business. We get into business to make a profit. We get into business to scale, to achieve certain objectives. We don't get into business to just be able to pay bills. And so that point falls in line with the decisions that we make with human capital as one of the important elements of business. Not the only important, but one of the important elements of the business. And we also need to understand that you need to hire correctly, because if you hire wrong, it can be very detrimental for your business. There have been some businesses that have been brought down to their knees because of the human capital that they've hired. And so as an employer, you should be able to monitor the KPIs of your human capital. You should be able to see, is this the right fit of an individual for your business? And once you realize that the answer may be no, you need to make decisions quickly before it's too late. Because sometimes if you wait too long, you're not able to recover from that decision of waiting too long. But there are times in which the relationships or human capital can be recoverable, in terms of maybe they need to be guided in this manner. Maybe they need to be provided with these support elements to make them become what you envision them to become. So there are all these key factors that need to be taken into consideration when you're doing talent acquisition. And I do feel like a lot of small businesses get it very wrong when it comes down to acquiring talent.
Awesome. So one of the things that you did mention was there are certain things or factors rather, that may stand in the way of businesses, especially small businesses, and acquiring that desired kind of talent, and one of those being the financial resources. Now, how would you tackle that one? Because at the end of the day, in as much as you may desire to have certain kind of people, certain kind of caliber of people, but you can't afford them, what then would your approach be?
Yeah. So that is a very good question, and it's a very challenging aspect as well to sort of take on, right? So we all know that in Botswana, yes, human capital is mainly motivated by finances. Human capital is mainly motivated by finances. But my take as an employer, is that we do need to create environments that are conducive. Like, we all want finances. We all want financial freedom at the end of the day, right? Of course, financial freedom looks different from one person and the other, but that's perfectly fine. But Mihala, what we do need to do as business owners is create this conducive environment whereby it's not just about finances, but it's also about the growth, the personal growth of the human capital. It's about the career growth as well, of the human capital. And so that's why it all goes back down to how you hire or who you hire. You need to hire people that understand that, especially for small businesses, growth can be painstakingly slow, but as long as there's growth, as long as we are aiming for stability, because there can be periods of instability that you go through, and they can be long periods of instability. Trust me, I know, I've been going through it, still am. But the human capital needs to look at the leadership to say, okay, is this leader, or is this person that I'm going to say is going to lead me? Are they able to lead the business through difficult challenges? Are they able to, lead the business to scaling and growing from its current position? And so it should be it's a relationship, really, at the end of the day, between human capital and the business and the leaders, right? And so in a relationship, there needs to be open and honest conversations that, listen, this is what's happening, or these are the decisions that we may be thinking of taking, and then engaging with the human capital to see what decisions do they agree with, do they not agree with, or what suggestions that they might have. So it's about building the relationship, So I always liken, the human capital relationship with business to sort of that is similar to romantic relationships. There are many people out there who have partners who are very wealthy and rich, but they are very miserable, And just because they're wealthy and rich, unfortunately, doesn't equate to them being happy. So I think there is a change, a shift for people in romantic relationships to say, okay, money is an important factor, but it's not the only factor. There are other qualitative things that need to be considered to make someone happy. Can that person really speak to me as a human being and what I love to do, or what makes me happy? Similar with that of human capital and businesses, human capital needs to look at the business and say, okay, yes, finance is an important factor, but it's not the only thing that I'm going to consider. I want to consider, is this a toxic environment? What kind of reputation does this company have? What kind of person is the leader of this? Because the leader is a reflection of what the business is going to be like. Is the leader autocratic? Or is the leader a fair, democratic, laissez-faire person leader? Is the leader serious? Do they seem like they're very motivated, in making this business become a success? You have to look at those things, right? So unfortunately, we are still in that phase in business where we are trying to have people shift their minds towards considering all those other factors and not just money, right? It's still going to take some time to get to that point whereby the majority of human capital does consider other factors. So that's still a struggle that we are willing to take. We are not willing to take per se, but we are still having to overcome, actually, because small businesses
navigate.
Navigate. Small businesses in Botswana, a lot of them, they're struggling financially. It's a small market. The economy, whenever it is in a slump, the small business community is affected the most, right? So when the economy is in a slump like what it currently is, it becomes more difficult for leaders of small businesses to really influence motivation in their human capital. Do you get what I mean? Just the other day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I saw that 1 in every 4 households, or rather, there was a report that said 25% of households in Botswana reported job losses. That means that 1 in every 4 Botswana lost their jobs. That is a very scary sight, and that is also a reality check, because that means that the economy is not doing well. And like I was saying earlier, that means that the small business community is the one that's greatly affected. So now, in such a situation, a human capital should ask themselves, okay, I have a job that's paying 5,000 pula a month. Should I complain that it's only paying 5,000 pula? Or should I be grateful that I have a job, it's paying 5,000 pula, as compared to tens of thousands of other people, if not hundreds of thousands of other people, actually don't have a job. They have nothing. They wake up every day and they don't have anything to do. So there are worse off situations. And like I'm saying, I'm not saying that, sure, you should be settled at that 5,000 pula, or maybe you want 10,000 pula or whatever. But many things come into consideration, like I said, to that factor. And if, let's say, you want a job that pays you 10,000 pula, you look at the current job that you're in, you're getting paid 5,000 pula, and then you look at it and say, okay, what is the trajectory of this company? What is the leader saying they're going to do to grow this company? What are the opportunities that are there for me to scale up in the business, and so on and so forth? Because obviously, when you get into a business, you don't want to get into it and get stuck. There needs to be growth. That is one of the human factors that people want to be fulfilled. That growth. Okay, now I have more responsibilities. Can I become a manager? Can I, look over a team of 5 or whatever the case may be? So it's such a complex field, a very difficult field to navigate because of limited resources. But at the same time, it's not something that is impossible to accomplish, because there are cases whereby there are small businesses offering conducive environments to human capital. They're doing fantastic. It's a great environment, and they're pretty happy, and they're happier than some people who are making a lot more than what they are making. You know what I mean? So we have to just really navigate through these difficulties, these challenges, and see what we as employers can produce in terms of environment for those who we want to be involved in that environment.
Awesome. Now that leads me to my next question, talking to the evolving employee and employer expectations. There's so many things that you've mentioned in your submission, that there are certain things that employers, or rather employees, may need to consider, not only just the monetary. Looking at your own history and the history of the people who are in business that you may be close to, what are some of the evolving expectations that you have realized Are they reasonable according to you? Are they not reasonable? And what would your word of advice be in terms of just managing expectations as a whole?
That's such a loaded question. I would like to believe that at its current juncture, some may consider them not reasonable. You understand? Because wonderful understand that, maybe let's say 5 years ago, times are good. Hypothetically, and I'm not really saying exactly 5 years ago times are good, because they were actually pretty terrible since that was COVID year. But environments that were, let's say, good back then are not necessarily the same now. Do you get what I mean? So you can't sort of maintain the same expectations as you did 5 years ago as you should today. They should evolve and adapt, because, like I said, in business, it's an ever-evolving market, an ever-evolving industry. Clients and customers are always changing, and so you need to keep up with that. So it's very difficult to keep up with the expectations, because sometimes the expectations are based on false realities, and a lot of people don't want to truly embrace the reality of current situations. Just because it was good back then, a lot of people expect it to be good today, but that's not the case. It could be even worse today, or it could be even better. But it's a reality that needs to be checked consistently, and so this needs to be you need to have honest conversations to say, well, okay, this is where we are. This is where we are. This is where you think we are. This is where we want to go. So realignment and making sure that everybody's aligned is important in business, because if there is a lack of alignment, it'll cause frustrations, it'll cause tension, it'll cause bad environment, toxic environment, it'll cause a lot of these things. And you don't want that, because then obviously that hits on the productivity, and things like that. So, hey, yeah, it's important to just be aligned, have these check-ins, have a clear and open communication channel with your employees and yourself. Make sure that people are comfortable with coming forward and having honest conversations with you to say, this is what I thought, this is not happening, this is what should be happening, so that you as a leader, because sometimes the employees may not have the full vision of what is happening, are able to then correct them where they've gone off the road, because you obviously have a full view of the market, of the situation of the business, but Bonnet, they don't necessarily have that full view. And so that's what I have to say regarding that.
Great. Yeah, expectations are one of those things that I really concur with your point on communicating regularly with your team and ensuring that there's alignment.
Yeah.
Very important. Now, one of the critical areas in talent acquisition is employer branding. What is your view of that topic in terms of just standing out? And as much as you are a small business, you have limited resources and so forth, how can you position yourself in the market to ensure that at least you're able to attract people who are drawn to you as a business?
Yeah. So fortunately enough, in this day and age, we live in an era of social media. So it's quite easy for you to position your company in a very positive light through the use of social media. And not just that, also looking at yourself as well and the content that you publish. People want to dismiss the effect of social media in terms of their ability to be employed, in terms of their ability to attract customers. But literally, what you do on social media has an impact on a lot of people, quite honestly. So the way you carry yourself and the way the company also, whatever content that it publishes, it speaks to potential employees, it speaks to potential customers as well. So if you do it right on social media, then you're definitely there to attract the right kind of talent pool, as well as the right kind of clients that you want to attract. So luckily for me, I've used social media in a very impactful way, in the sense that I've used it on a personal capacity to drive business towards Vibe and Mahala Airtime. I've also, and because of that, not just to drive business, because of that, there's been quite a number of people who have looked at me and said, I really want to work for this chap. This guy, he seems like a really cool dude. And obviously, of course, we know it's not just about being cool or whatever, but they've seen my interviews, they've seen these platforms that I've been on, they've seen a lot of things, so they know that I'm quite passionate. They've also seen me be consistent. I'm very consistent in talking about Vibe. I'm very consistent in talking about entrepreneurship. I'm very consistent in talking about Mahala Airtime as well. I'm very consistent in all of these things. Wow, Anna. So, and that's what a lot of people lack. They lack that consistency. So that consistency really does attract people towards your company. It really does attract people towards your company. So social media, when you utilize it in an effective way, it could do a lot of wonders for you. And I don't just mean Facebook, I mean all of them. So with me, I'm on literally almost all the platforms. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm on all of them. So I am accessible. And then, yes, so people also know what to expect on different platforms. Like LinkedIn, I strictly talk about business and nothing else. Facebook, of course, is a mixture of everything, social side as well as business side. So I've seen that approach, that it's been quite effective in terms of getting the desired results, whether it's attracting new business or attracting new talent. It's definitely there. And I never have an issue in terms of whenever I look for new talent to join into my business, it's never been an issue, in the sense that the name has been there. People know about Vibe. Obviously not everybody knows about Vibe, but people know about Vibe. People are starting to know more about Mahala Airtime. So yeah, obviously, like I said, in terms of individuals wanting jobs, there are plenty, but it's about getting the right mentality, acquiring the right mindset to come on board to the company.
Great. Now we know that we're living in a highly digitalized world. So in terms of talent, there are some people who prefer if I would call it, the olden way of work. And then right now we have been digitizing the workplace, and there's heightened opportunities of working remotely and so forth. How would you, or rather, what has been your experience in trying to juggle the two, in terms of your expectations as an employer and the expectations of the employee in that regard?
Can you repeat the question one more time? I apologize.
The landscape, the world of work landscape has drastically changed over the course of the last 15 or 10 years or so, moving towards more remote, more digital work. But when you look at the mixed feelings from employees, there are some who prefer the previous ways or rather of doing work, which is to be in within four walls. And there's some who are actually embracing the new world of work, of remote working, and other
Yeah.
people are really totally for that. So what I want to know, what has been your own experience, and what are you vouching for as an employer?
Yeah. So that one has been a tricky one. Um, we went completely digital in 2021 due to some circumstances that we were not necessarily evicted from our office, but the office had been bought, and then the new owners wanted to do something with the building. So I took that opportunity to then say, all right, guys, I'm scared, but let's take this leap into doing things virtual. That means that everybody works from their home. Internet, either will be provided or they provide it themselves, whatever the case, whatever the discussions led to, and things like that. So we have been completely digital since then. So that's like 4 years basically working from home, right? And it was around the time, obviously, when work from home was also being explored extensively all around the world because of the COVID situation. But bringing it back home, I would like to believe that the majority of Botswana don't have the self-discipline to work from home. Productivity is not as high as it would be if there was an actual office environment. Although for me, I'd have to go back to an office situation to see what kind of productivity levels do we see now having moved back to the office situation. And then I'll be able to compare we tried work from home for 4 years, but we've tried and now we're trying office, and this is what the results are like. But hella, in general, I'd like to believe that a lot of Botswana don't have the self-discipline to work from home. And so that's why a lot of companies, when things that started to normalize with the whole COVID situation, they actually reverted back to working from home, to office situation, and I think it has a lot to do with sort of the mentality of the workforce in Botswana. But we really do need to get to that position, and especially because we have a lot of high unemployment, Botswana, so there are a lot of opportunities out there, digital opportunities out there, where it would have you working from home. I have a sister, I'm gonna bring it back home, a little personal. I have a sister, she works from home. She stays in Cape Town. She has 2 jobs, digital jobs, online jobs, working from home. And she makes, pretty decent money. She stays in Cape Town. I don't stay in Cape Town. She stays in Cape Town, right? So you need to have that sort of discipline, to be able to take advantage of there are a lot of opportunities out there on the digital, in the digital environment. So our workforce needs to have, it starts with self-discipline first. Then when you sort of master self-discipline, you're able to then, yes, explore these other opportunities, but that self-discipline also translates to other things that you're then able to do, in your life, because self-discipline is applicable in many different things. So yeah, it's a tricky one. And then I think a huge problem that I have is communication. A lot of Botswana are just not good in communication, whether in their personal lives or in their work environment lives. They're just not good in communication. And for work from home to work really well, people need to be able to communicate, But sometimes you will have people, have a very relaxed approach to communication. You'll only hear from them after 2 hours, and things like that. And then sometimes also the challenge of working from home is that sometimes tones can be misread. Someone maybe think, you are angry when you're actually perfectly fine. So there's a lot that needs to be done for work from home in Botswana to be able to succeed, and that starts with the people, them equipping themselves with the right sort of skills to be able to manage a work from home mentality. But personally, I like to believe, for me, myself, and I, because we hold ourselves accountable, we're the founders. If we don't steer the ship will go off course and things like that. We have a heightened sense of self-discipline and accountability as well. So I find working from home to be just fine, and then if ever I move into the office situation, I would probably have a hybrid model whereby I'm able to go to the office or I'm able to work from home or whatever the case may be. But I don't necessarily need to go to the office Monday to Friday or Saturday to be able to get things done. I know that each morning I have my schedule of things to do. I tick them off. Come lunchtime, I'm doing a status check to see what tasks have I done for that day, what am I lacking behind on, things like that. You get what I mean? But unfortunately, that's not something that employees will do. Employees, they don't have that discipline. They don't have that what's the word? There's a word that I'm looking for. Structure. They don't structure themselves that way for them to be able to really take advantage of working from home. So there's still a lot that needs to be done with human capital with working from home, but that a lot needs to be done because at some point, they're going to rely on these skills that they are teaching themselves to further themselves in their lives. Because these are skills not just applicable for the workplace, but also applicable just in life. So yeah, that's been my experience with working from home to working from the office. I do miss working from the office though, because the other challenge is that work from home it isolates you. And since we are a creative company, creatives generally tend to want to be with other creatives. It gets the juices flowing when you're around people, like-minded people and things like that. So it's quite challenging to get motivation to be creative when you're by yourself, but it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. And like I said, once you acquire those skills, there's no one that can take them away from you. And once you acquire those skills, that you are one in few from other people as well. So you're separating yourself already from the rest, and if you're looking for other opportunities, job opportunities and things like that, and people see that this is what you're able to do, you're capable of doing this, they know what it takes, to be in a work from home environment, things like that. So you'll automatically be putting yourself ahead of other people who haven't experienced that, who haven't taught themselves or mastered those skills of being able to work from home.
All right. There's something that you have been saying around mindset, mentality. Do you mind breaking down what you mean by the mindset of our people, the mentality of our people? Because it's sounding a bit vague or generic. What are you referring to? Yes.
Entitlement is a mindset that we need to do away with, right? Entitlement to high salaries, entitlement to just great stuff. You're not entitled to anything. We work collectively as a group, as a company, to get to positions whereby things that you want are provided to you. But they can only be provided to you if all of us put in the work. It can't be just, no, you are the leader, you are supposed to go over and above, and do XYZ. That's not the case. Everybody needs to be working like horses collectively to reach certain goals and certain objectives. And then, like I said, you need to agree with those goals and objectives. If you don't, that means take yourself out of that company. Go to a company where you agree with their objectives and their goals, right? Entitlement is one thing. Motivation. Motivation also is a big thing, actually, that I've been thinking about also in recent times. And I've realized that, and also I've read and I've been immersed in this field, or in the subject rather, to say, I used to think that it is my duty to motivate my employees to do better. No, that's literally not what I've been getting it wrong. It is my duty to influence employees to self-motivate themselves, to excel themselves. Influence. So there's a difference between being the actual motivator and being the actual influencer of motivation and positivity. Motivation comes from within. As a founder, as a business owner, myself, I motivate myself, even in difficult times. I think there was 2 weeks ago, a whole week, I was down in morale. I was just really not feeling well. Internally, emotionally, not physically. I was perfectly fine, but emotionally, I was just down and out. But I told myself, despite your feelings, things need to be done. Work needs to be done. So it is actually to your best interest to get yourself out of this funk, out of this mood that you're in, and try to be positive, in life. And when you are positive, now you get to be more productive and things like that. So I told myself that, but unfortunately it did take the whole week for me to get out of it. But during that period of being down, I was still getting work done, because that work wasn't going to be done by anybody else. There's no time for feelings. You just need to get work done. And so you need to, we sort of get.
You mean, but feelings are a natural part and cause, of life.
100%. But what
continue.
Yeah, 100%. But what I'm saying is that you need to be able to learn to live with being down, but still get the work done. Yeah. But a lot of people want to be down and still let it affect their work. Do you get what I mean? That shouldn't be the case. When it affects the work, we're losing out on what you could be doing. Do you get what I mean? So I suck it up as an owner of a business, as an employer. I suck it up. I'm like, dude, you know what? Hey, fine, feel down, chief. But there are all those things on your task list that you need to do. When I mention, you'll see what to do with your happiness or whatever it's causing you. That's literally what it requires. And we need that to also equate to our employees as well. You know what? There might be things that happen also in their personal lives. Maybe they're going through a breakup, maybe they're going through XYZ. But the most important thing is, how do you respond? What is your reaction? So you see how I said, I was feeling down, but I still got the work done. There's some people who feel down and just, they'll make it the whole world, and then they'll also try to affect other people so that they feel down. No, that's the worst thing. Feel down, respond in a positive manner, get things done sooner rather than later, hopefully sooner, you will start feeling better about whatever it is that's making you feel down. That is the important element or thing that I need to really, really push. It's the most important thing is how you react. Is it a positive reaction or is it a negative reaction? And you should always strive to have a positive reaction in anything that happens, even when you're in a negative situation. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's very difficult. I never said it was easy, but it's worth it to react in a positive manner, because it shows that nothing will be able to stop you. Nothing will be able to stop you. You can overcome adversity at any given moment. Let anyone throw anything your way, you go and still take it on your chest and still move forward. No one is going to derail you from what you are trying to achieve. Similarly with me and the gym, there's certain days where I'm just like, I want to sleep, I want to we do the game. But then the other side of me is like, I don't just, dude, go tamaya. You just need to overcome these things, because on the days that you move, when you have everything against you that's trying to stop you from moving forward, those are the days that really truly build your character. Those days that you just don't want to do anything, but you end up still doing them. Those are the true character developing days. And when you develop that character, the characteristics, you can never lose it. You have proven to yourself, Jorge, you can do anything despite whatever adversity that you are facing. And that right there is what we are looking for. You need to look for that in a leader. So when you join a company, look for that. And then you also need, as a leader, you need to look for that in your employees. Can they overcome this? You get what I mean? And obviously, it's difficult. It's difficult to look for those things in people, because people will never say, why? Nah, I'm weak. If my girlfriend doesn't reply my texts in 3 hours or less, then it's raps. I'm having a bad day. No one will ever say that. Do you get what I mean? So you just need to find ways to try to see how you can get and how you can look at the individual, see what kind of character they are based off of whatever things that you need to look at. And then that's when you can then make your assessment to say, okay, maybe this is the right kind of character. And character really does go a long way. There have been many times people have been hired, they don't have the qualification for the job, but because the leader sees something in them, and that something obviously is probably based on character, they give that person a chance. And once that person is given a chance, they do fantastically well, because they're like, wow, I was given a chance. I'm gonna repay the faith that this person has had in me tenfold. And that person has become a fantastic employee for the company, etc., etc. Then there are other people who are very much qualified, they got the credentials and everything, but they have terrible character. And you're just like, you know what, in as much as, yeah, great, you got the qualifications and everything, I'm sorry, you're just not a fit in my company. So yeah, character is very important. There's a book I actually have here, funny enough, by Dr. Miles Monroe. It's called The Power of Character in Leadership.
In leadership.
Yeah.
I read the book. Awesome. So that is expectations, or rather entitlement. There is motivation, self-management or leadership, and character. So those are the things that you spoke to. Awesome. So now, as we bring our conversation to a close, the retention part of talent management, what are some of the strategies you have either utilized yourself or you would like to explore, or you've seen other small business owners explore to support employee well-being and development? Because in as much as would say, yes, these are entirely upon, the responsibilities entirely upon employees to do that and that, equally so, it's the responsibility of the employer to go above and beyond. And I like something that you said earlier in terms of this being a relationship between the employer and the employee. And that is what I often tell people, that this is a partnership. Both of us have come together to accomplish a singular mandate, a singular vision. And it's very important for us to be mindful of that as we go along on this journey. So what are some of the strategies that organizations can use to support the well-being and the development of employees whilst they're still in their employ?
Yeah, so you have to, first and foremost, human beings like to be part of groups, whether it's socially or it's in the professional thing. So you have to try to build that team spirit as much as possible. There's been many businesses that do various tactics like employee of the month. They do team building sessions, and just generally how they work with one another to show them that they care for them, they value them as an employee and also just as a human being as well. I think that, especially that part, right? It's important. Treating other human beings properly is almost even a luxury in Botswana. There's a lot that we've mentioned before. There's toxic environments in Botswana. That's because a lot of people are not treated properly by leaders and also by other colleagues. But when you, as a leader, you show that it is not just okay, but encouraged to treat other people with respect, and with Lorato and stuff like that, then you are setting the tone for the rest of the company. So once that sort of environment is created, the respectful environment and things like that, you find that people are just generally happier to be part of that workplace. But like I said, there are other things, obviously, like, your team building sessions, etc., or the interest that you as a leader have in your employees' lives. Do you get what I mean? My employees almost consider me as much as I'm their boss, I'm also like should I say they're brazy? Do you get what I mean? But there's still that level of respect that is there. They still respect me. First and foremost, I am their boss. The first point of our relationship is that I'm their employer, they're the employee, right? But you don't necessarily have to just stay there. Although a lot of people, like I said, stick to that. They don't want to try to complicate anything, if it's considered complicating anything. They don't want to add any other elements of, let's say, that comfort, right? Because fine, it is true. So a lot of people can take that comfort and then turn it into disrespect. You definitely don't want that to happen. You get what I mean? So I don't blame a lot of people for just keeping it at just like, listen, this employer-employee relationship, that's it. I don't want to hear nothing about what you do after work or on the weekends. I don't care. I don't want to hear from you until you know what I mean? There are those people. But like for me personally, I create a family environment. It does have its challenges, but I personally, because of me personally, like I'm a personable person. I like that sort of comfortable environment, of course, where there is respect as well. So yeah, that's basically what I encourage people to do. Don't treat people as robots, even if we're getting into the AI, generation or whatever. People have feelings, and people are human beings at the end of the day. So we need to take all of that into consideration, and also just listen to the needs of your employees. Listen to the needs of the employees. See what you can provide. See what's not possible. And as you just said, and as we were mentioning, it's a partnership. Let's work together so that everybody is able to get what they want out of that relationship. You get what I mean? So it's important. It's a matter of communication. It's a matter of just understanding one another's goals, objectives, etc., etc.
Great. Awesome. That brings us to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Karabo. Now, where can people reach out to you? Where can people connect with you?
Yeah. So as I've mentioned, I have two companies, Vibe Digital, VYB Digital. That's the same on all of the networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, and things like that. And I have Mahala Airtime. So it's Mahala Airtime BW on all of the networks as well. I think all of the platforms as well. If you want to reach out to me personally, it is Karabo Letsulo on Facebook. The answer Karabo on Twitter, and
that's X.
Yes, X.
X.
I still call it Twitter, but X. And then Instagram, yeah, also the same, the answer Karabo. So yeah, I'm highly active on Twitter and highly active on Facebook as well. So whichever one of those platforms, and highly active on LinkedIn as well. Or not necessarily active, but highly. I'm there. I'm even there now. Like I see it. If you were to send me a message on LinkedIn today, you're definitely getting a response today. So that's basically how I am. So yeah, do reach out. Hey man, I'm all about talking about entrepreneurship, talking about technology, advertising technology, talking about Mahala Airtime, Vibe Digital, all of that. It's just I'm an excited person, as you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karabo, for your time. Thank you for listening in. And I believe that you'll glean so much nuggets, insights, and